Hello and welcome to Curated Spaces, the community for curious travellers and slow living spaces. I'm Molly Cooper and this is the podcast that's all about getting you off your phone and out there getting the good times rolling. Join me as I sit down with the founders and owners of boutique spaces to share their journeys as well as the inside scoop from brilliant people doing cool things in travel, design and hospitality. We just launched the brand new Curated Spaces platform, so if under the radar finds and exploring the best that the UK has to offer is a bit of you, then go and check it out and start planning your next staycation now. But I think that's quite enough shameless plugging for one episode, so let's go straight into today's conversation. Today I'm at the Small Holding in Kilndown in Kent, a farm-to-table restaurant focusing on modern British cookery. With 1 acre of land, this cosy spot serves up a tasting menu showcasing the ingredients available to us. And I'm delighted to welcome Will to the podcast, who opened the Small Holding with his brother Matt in 2018. Will, such a pleasure to have you here today. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good, Molly. Thank you so much for doing a podcast with us.
Not at all, such a pleasure. We're here tucked away in the cosy sort of bar dining area.
Yeah.
We've just been for quite a drizzly walk around the kitchen garden.
I think we got in just in time.
Yeah, so. Just before the heavens open. And I can't wait to hear all about this lovely space you've pulled together. But before we do, I'd like to start with you and your story and how you've ended up here in Kilndown.
So, we opened... Yeah, where do I start? We opened in 2018, April 2018, me and my brother. We had a pop-up restaurant beforehand. Both been in the industry for a while. I've been a chef for 15 years now. Matt was the same, running restaurants in front of house, bar work, and I was kind of always in the kitchen, washing up, chopping, eating.
Someone's got to do it.
Exactly. And then we both decided to quit our jobs. 2017, started a pop-up restaurant company called No Fixed Abode, where we travelled around everywhere without a home.
Fun.
Finding anywhere that would have us to trial our concept, really, of tasting menu, beer pairings and wine pairings, and then we'd do that at the weekends, and in the week would be travelling to farms, trying to sort of learn about ingredients, meet with different producers, and then we'd curate like a menu towards whatever was available, and we'd do that every week.
Yeah.
And it happened, and one day we always wanted to get somewhere that we could grow our own and understand produce and flavour, really growing for flavours, like the main aim. So we were lucky enough to find here in end of 2017, opened in 2018. It was a bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah, and the rest is history.
Yeah, we've just for it. I mean, it was really natural. We were doing the pop-ups. I was renting a friend's kitchen. We needed to find our own. We were kind of outgrowing it really fast. So I signed up with a few agencies, that was sort of pubs to lease and stuff. And we found here, it was called the Globe and Rainbow at the time, which was it's an old building. It's a big coaching inn. We're actually in one of the barns adjacent to it. So the big pub that's to the sort of north of us is now split into two houses, two beautiful, huge houses. But it was a big draw for the area back from sort of 1800s onwards. Yeah. There's a big hop growing community around here. Hops in Kent have been massive for centuries. Yeah. And chestnut coppice for hop poles. So there was a big farming community, and then the Kilndown comes from the oast houses that we used to dry the hops.
No way.
So they're there's kind of small round turret looking buildings with sort of white towers on the top. So this was all full of kilns around here that would be drying hops and also making potteries with heavy base clay here. So that's where the name comes from. And as I say, we're in just a sort of back barn out the corner with a little bit of land. The land was what really attracted us to here. So we found somewhere with an acre of land and a pub all on sort of the same site. And we kind of needed that. We were also looking at maybe having a restaurant where we could work with a farm or co-op sort of style. But really for us to get involved with every element of the food before it arrives to the kitchen and then on to the diner is incredible.
Yeah. And was that the moment you had this inkling, you wanted to start your own place? From day one, were you like, I want to do something where we grow the ingredients? Or did that sort of come with it once you'd found the space and you had the land?
No, it was always the dream. And actually, I never saw this place I didn't think it had the potential because it was small.
Yeah.
I thought one day you've got to set your sights high, right? We thought we'd have 100 acres somewhere and we'd have all of our sheep and cows and we'd grow our own grains for bread, etc., etc. And I thought this could be a kind of good starting block. And the pop-ups were going so well But I thought, if we had a base here where we could grow some ingredients, and then we could do, when we didn't have a venue for the pop-up, we could use this as a venue for the pop-ups. And I kind of maybe didn't believe in myself, or we didn't believe in ourselves probably at the beginning, and we thought that would be great. It's got a kitchen, it's got a little dining room. We could probably do one a month here and then still travel around and do other ones. And then as we were designing and decorating, we signed up and had the keys and picking paint colours and stuff. And then we were calling the building down, the work we were doing on what we call the farm now, the smallholding part of the business. And we had set up a separate WhatsApp group, and me and some friends who are landscape gardeners and stuff that were helping me dig the polytunnel footings and stuff. We were like, the smallholding. And I still didn't have a name to call the restaurant for ages. And I actually kind of crumbled into just, we'll probably just call it the smallholding. That's what I call it when I come here. And that's what the WhatsApp group's called, and that's what we refer to it as in our conversations. And then I thought, this is it is a restaurant, right? We were picking tables, and it's more than a pop-up venue. And I kind of thought, why do we want to keep travelling around into different places where we could really focus all of our energy on this one space? And this could be the restaurant, rather than waiting for something bigger and better to come. But,
I love that.
So it grew quite naturally. And then, early April 2018, we did our first service. We were more pub-based in one element because we were local. We wanted to stay open for the local. It was closed for a couple of years before. So having somewhere to come and get a beer and a Scotch egg and all that stuff. And then our dining room, which has got an open kitchen. We had just 8 tables in there. Is how we started, quite naturally.
Oh, I love it. And I think that's so nice. You touched on a few things there. One is this, I think it's so easy to when we get the whole big shebang and the 200 bed hotel and the 100 this and that. Whereas actually, I've been amazed going around the country with the podcast is seeing what people are doing in basically a house or a small restaurant and having these incredible experiences, whether that's food or staying, but really making the most out of quite tiny bits of space.
Yeah, I think you can you use it as an excuse, but you can say, and it's because of that, or one day when we have this, it'll be better. And I can't get there because I don't have X, Y, and Z. And actually, I think what I do a lot of anyway, I probably didn't realise it back then, but now on reflection and a lot of decisions we've made moving forward is that you've got to just do something, right? If you have that burning desire, frustration, fire, whatever you want to call it within you, that's I just need to get out, break, and express yourself, just do something, which obviously where the pop-ups came from. And we were always pinning you've got to aim high, but I think you've also got to understand what you've got in front of you and just make it happen.
And make the most of it, because this is such a gorgeous spot and a very lovely idyllic village that we just drove through. And then we went out to have a look at the acre, the small holding. You have that beautiful terrace now, which again I guess came from having these very cozy but quite compact rooms. So you've got lovely huge terrace area, which looks like an absolute sun trap come the summer. It's
incredible in the summer, and really even just whenever we had people out there. It was a sunny day a couple of days ago, and we're still in February, but people sat out their jackets on just because it was beautiful, and birds are singing. There's no noise around here. We're so secluded. It's just a beautiful spot to sit. But as the summer comes, drinks and snacks on the terrace before the menu starts is something that everyone requests, everyone wants. And then obviously finishing your meal out there, especially lunch times, become just incredibly busy. And just looking over, because where we are, the restaurant and the farm are connected, right? So you sit in the restaurant and you can see the farm, and then you can finish out there and you can watch the guys working. You can go down and have a wander. A lot of restaurants that do a similar thing sometimes say, we at our farm that's down the road, or at our place that we work with, and we're really, really lucky to have. We've got a lot of challenges still with that, but having it on the same site is really unique.
Something quite special as well was be eating your squash and watch where it was picked from. But that morning, how lovely!
It's beautiful.
And I'd love to hear a bit about it. So you bought this old pub. What sort of state was it in, and how did you find the whole renovation? Was it a grand design to fiasco, or was it relatively?
It was definitely not grand designs. It was, it was visionary. I kind of knew where I wanted to go, and having never done this type of project before. And there was always the restaurants we'd worked in before had interior architects and all these mood boards and sort of patterns and textures come through. And I felt what I wanted to do. And actually, we opened. In the what you see now is a modern or a refurbished version of what we opened. Where we opened was little bit more rustic and a bit rough, and we were definitely on a budget. So we painted everything ourselves. We sort of plumbed as much as we could, and we cleaned. I mean, it was very dilapidated when we got here. There was lots of rotten wood, and floor needed completely sanding back and refurbishing. And we built some my friend Gus, who runs a carpentry company, helped us build some scaffolding board tables. And,
lovely.
We just got it done through incredible amount. My mum was here painting. We just, anyone and everyone that could help us donated some little sort of bits that we could dress with. So it came really naturally, and it was quite an organic growth of lots of people that supported us from forever, from the pop-ups, from our careers before, that just wanted to come and just help in some way or some kind. So that's how it was daunting. I'd never really, so many other things that come through the business. Matt is a lot better than me at a lot of these things, so he's really, a lot more sort of structured and organised, and from making sure that we had a telephone line, to make sure we had a printer, those kind of things were real anomalies. We kind of dropped the ball on some of that. So I just wanted to be in the kitchen, be in the ground, making sure the soil was good, making sure the oven worked, and then just creating a bit more. We felt quite homely about it. That's why we kind of, the small holding is coming and eating food from here, made by the people that are from here, and so it feels, it's quite personal. Everything around the restaurant is, whether it's the cups that are made from a potter, or the tables that we made ourselves, or it's all at the paints and stuff. We did everything ourselves, which we wanted to feel like that, and it has done.
And I think you can really feel it the moment you walk in. It's very cozy. It's very sort of stripped back. These lovely like white walls with whitewash, bit of paneling, beautiful Scandi-esque dried flowers, which I'm a big fan of, and like these beautiful little touches everywhere. Sort of the building really sings. It feels very warm, very cozy. You can kind of tell that you didn't just rock up, sign a bill for someone to come in and like gut it and paint it all.
Well, that's, I think, when it's probably the more painful way of coming through things, isn't it? When you add and you build and you tweak and you change, and it's all been very natural. But we wanted it to be bright, open space, as well as kind of when the log burners go in the winter months. It just does have that, and sort of dimming the lights to the right level, and making sure the music's at the right level. Feeling that comfort, that level of hospitality is something, as well as the food, obviously super important, is what we base everything on. But that isn't brought its way through into our drinks section. A lot of our juices, we make our own spirits and things, and lots of our infusions. And that the level of hospitality that we're trying to bring is exactly what you should feel when you walk in here, which is we've got you, arms around you, come and sit down, let us feed you, let us pour your drinks, let's just talk to you about food and drink, and you can ask any questions, you can come and see anything you want, and people really find that engagement. It's just it's a really lovely way to spend some time. And
it kind of means it's not just a restaurant where you rock up, you pick off a piece of paper and you eat. It feels like you come, you connect, you can see the food, you can talk to you about it, you can see the handmade spirits behind the bar. I love that. It's quite almost like immersive, or just being part of it.
I think it's real, as I say, spending time in the industry in other areas where service, you were taught to be it's quite stiff and just polite, and just we're accommodating for when the guests need something. And in the kitchen we were hiding. We were downstairs in the basement. We were away, and it's like, no, the chefs can't come out to see people. The chefs run 90% of the food. The front of house team are open to have conversations. When we ask a guest, "Hello, how are you?" We want to know, and if they say, "I'm really hungry," we're like, "Okay, we'll speed the snacks up. We'll bring them out." If they're like, "I'm a bit chilly," we're like, "What can I bring? I'll turn the heating up in your area, or I can bring you we have lots of sheepskins from our sheep that we've had over the years. Can bring you a sheepskin, or however it might be." I was like, I'm worried about my taxi. We genuinely care. We want you just to feel loved and relaxed, and that we want it to be like that because it's real. I think there are plenty of restaurants that are necessary restaurants. You go to because you're hungry, and you go to because they're in the right location. Here is definitely, we want it to feel a connection. We do. Over the years, we have an incredible amount of regulars, genuine like friends now, that come and support, and they show love, and they give us feedback if it's critical, and we really listen to it. We want to develop, and then they sing our praises, and they're always bringing new people. So building a genuine connection right from every junior member of the kitchen team still out talking to guests, running food, junior member of the front of house is still learning the wines, pouring wine, talking to guests.
Lovely.
We're one huge team. It's fantastic.
Oh, I love that. And how nice for the local community as well, that, you know, they're old local, the pub was closed up for a couple of years, you said,
Yeah.
and actually to have it come back to life in such a lovely, fresh form, and to still be a real pillar and not just a very exclusive, you know, where people come for the day, but to be somewhere for locals as well. I think that's great.
think it does still get that sometimes. Obviously, we run a tasting menu, which is quite sort of perceived to be quite fancy, but it's a tasting menu due to us wanting to showcase everything from the farm, and rather than having a choice menu where maybe we harvest lots of kale and nobody orders the dish with kale on it and we end up wasting it. So but we're super open. The amount of local support from Kilndown itself is just amazing, you know? Ultimately people want to have a great local restaurant. We're just outside of Tunbridge Wells, so you know, on the A21 is our closest sort of big road. So you have to go into a town, and we've got great connections to London. So the train up to London's 50 minutes. So,
it was so speedy.
Yeah. And a lot of our guests and people that live around here work in London, and they spend a lot of time there. So we're kind of the local restaurant, which is quite spread out because of the village mentality. But people are quite proud of us, which is nice, and we're pretty proud of them. And you see them bringing their friends from London and to show their lovely little restaurant that's close by. So that feels great.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about the food then, food and drinks, while we're all here. So talk to me about this tasting menu. What sort of things? I know it's February at the moment, so probably working for your winter supplies, aren't you?
We are, yeah. So February is actually quite a good month. We've got still sort of lots of vegetables and brassicas coming through the farm, as well as squashes and pumpkins, and obviously things that we've stored, for like potatoes and onions, and the wild garlic's coming through, so, and the rhubarb's coming through. So, but we run a full acre and half acre. So we do a smaller menu and a full menu. The full menu is 8 courses, 2 vegetable dishes, 2 fish dishes, 2 meat, and 2 sweet. Very simple.
Love that.
And there's we have some little snacks at the beginning as well as our bread. It's our naturally fermented sourdough with a whole grain. So we have a mill where we mill to make our own flour.
Oh, wow.
We went a bit hardcore into bread a few years ago, and worked with a farm that's growing fantastic wheat without any chemical fertilizers or any nasty stuff. And then we use Hinkston Dairy, our local dairy, for their Guernsey cow cream, and we culture the cream, churn it into butter and season with sea salt. So everything's been really thought about from the beginning to the end. And we cook to that structure now. James Chatfield, who's our new head chef, he's just been with us for a couple of months. Fantastic experience in some incredible, some of the best restaurants in the country, which is wonderful. Really kind of leveling up to a new sort of step of the small holding. But 2 veg, 2 fish, 2 meat, 2 sweet, and it changes every month.
Oh,
so a lot of restaurants, again, that have a tasting menu, or they will look at kind of more of a fine dining element, don't change the menu very often, because it takes quite a lot of energy to design a dish and to sort of develop it and to execute it. And we made a rod for our own back where we said, well, we just change it every month because it makes sense, doesn't it? And it's really it has been really difficult, but the real food that's grown in the ground, it changes often. Yeah. So your menus can't stay that static. And I know nowadays people say there's sort of, we change our menu seasonally, and that's fantastic. But we have to sometimes change our menu daily, depending on how many tomatoes we harvest or what the sweet corn looks like. Do you know? But we have a formula that we kind of cook to, so guests feel confident and comfortable. They know what they're going to get, and team-wise, we can kind of segregate it down. Yeah. Because the wine pairing is really important. We've got incredible producers around us in the UK. Yeah, we do. And as well as abroad, and we work quite heavily with lower intervention methods. So the same way we farm on the farm. So we've got no chemical fertilizers, no pesticides, nothing nasty. We're not certified organic. I just haven't gone through the process. I think I need to fill out a form or something. Yeah. But for me, I'm less interested in that. I know that the soil down there and the way that we work is with nature. So reflecting that on our wine list and working with some biodynamic principles, organic farms, and the natural yeast and fermentation really works well with the food and wine pairing. Yeah. So Susie, who's our restaurant manager, she's just joined us from this absolutely incredible beautiful boutique hotel in Canada. Yeah, it's like the most incredible place I've seen. But she's from the UK, so she came back, and she's just really leveled up all of our drinks offering and our wine.
Lovely.
And the delivery, the pairings, and that just gets flooded throughout the whole team. So we're really lucky. Maybe it's because we attract those people, but we're really lucky to have such hard-working, driven, passionate people. And it's not just, I'm not just hitting catchphrases. These guys like live, but you ask them what they've done on their day off, they're like, I was foraging gorse flowers because I'm making some gorse vodka at home. And you're like, of course you were, you know? And people are like, the whole team are just really in sync with food and drink. That's all they want to do. That's all they want to be, which is brilliant.
Oh, and I think spaces like this are so special because they kind of build these like microclimates and clusters of people who are very passionate about food and drink and what they're doing and providing this amazing experience. And I really love that. And you can sort of feel it again as soon as you walk in. I think they were having their like kick-off meeting.
Briefing,
Yeah, the briefing. But it was such good vibes. It wasn't like a Monday 9 a.m. briefing in an office, I can tell you that.
No, we make sure that's really important, that everyone feels valued. Like we're all in the team, and sometimes briefings are held by the senior management. And you know, it's like, this is everyone. We get together before lunch service, before dinner service, and we have a run through of who the guests are and what we're doing, what's changed on the menu, and then we're trying to all be a little bit healthier. So it's time that we can have a snack, and the guys make a little juice or something that's probiotic, makes you feel good.
Oh, I love that.
Vibes. And a list of order of the day, anything that's changed on the menu. Farm team come up and talk about what they're doing, so that everyone understands. If a guest says, "Oh, it can't be much happening down there at the moment, it's winter," so well, actually, we're sowing all of our aubergine seeds, and we're mulching our new beds, and we've just planted some more broad beans, etc., etc. So it's a super really good team.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'd love to just touch on something we spoke about briefly earlier, which is this shift that you've seen personally through your career. And we were saying how a few years ago, you know, restaurants are always like, we've imported this thing from here and this expensive thing. But it feels like there's this huge shift as everyone's looking to be hyper local, hyper seasonal. It doesn't get much more so than here. But it's really having this moment. Is it 100 years of biodynamics this year as well?
I didn't know that. But I think that from my career anyway, and the contact I've had is, fine dining or good food was the best of the world. You know, it was the best tuna from Tokyo, and it was the finest truffles from Italy, and it was the best foie gras from France, and maybe that was because of the restaurants that I was in were more sort of fine, like that style of fine dining. But the perception's definitely changed now. Do you know, there's I think customer driven maybe, and there's been some real big innovators in our industry that have pushed that lean onto real food that's produced well. Seasonality's key, and it has been, I think, for chefs forever. But you know, the perfect seasonal mango is also in season, and the perfect seasonal, you know, imported calamansi or whatever sort of tropical fruit you want. But we're talking about it in our seasons, you know, and being proud of our seasons. And I think nowadays the conversation of varieties and the conversation of what we use and where and how, and I say championing the farmer sounds a bit like a dud phrase now, because I think it gets well overused. But maybe just communicating that message more and understanding that, yes, people see farmers, they go, oh, they look lovely and they're a big old tractor, and that's great, isn't it? But the point is, if the farmers feed us, they feed people. You know, food comes from the ground, and we're really disattached to that, which we know, and people are working on starting to understand more things, which is fantastic. But I think it's become a bit more, it's in fashion now, I'd say, which is brilliant, and it needs to stay that way. And it's driven by people wanting to know and ask, which is even better. People wanting to try and grow their own. I think there was some sort of stat I saw about allotments post-COVID, during COVID. Everyone just like, how do I? And you got people in their early 20s chomping at the bit, being like, I need an allotment. You know, that wasn't a thing. You know, no one cared about that. So we've definitely, I think it's a shift that's here to stay. And I think it just needs to be refined now into detail that local doesn't always mean the best in terms of, and that's not me dissing local farmers, I'm saying farming practices is what's really important, and the use of pesticides, the use of chemical fertilizers, and they're the kind of things that because it's grown at the farm down the road doesn't equally mean that it's really good for you or it's really good for the planet. It probably means it's better, but let's talk. We're now hopefully convincing people that British food's really good and you can eat it and you can support British farmers. So now let's look at the next level of how it's being farmed and talk about the lower intervention methods.
Yeah, and you used the word being proud earlier, and I think that really encapsulates it. It feels like for a while British food had a bit of a stigma. It was fish and chips on the beach.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything to shout about, which is maybe why we imported so much stuff and we're always copying others. But people seem to be really waking up to amazing British produce, cooked really well, and actually have a bit of pride in ourselves, our new wine scene as well.
Well, I think it's, I have this back and forth because like the import, we're an island, so obviously we need to import stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I get it. And like, black pepper was like the biggest thing that we ever imported in the 1600s, and everyone went mad for it. And you look at our cuisine in Britain is built on importation. We're a global country. Like all of that stuff isn't going to go overnight. But us, I think, apologising for a stew or a hot pot, do you know what I mean? Or going, it's just a full English. It's like actually that is fantastic, and we should be super proud of a Yorkshire pudding, and we should be proud of that.
Shouldn't we?
Yeah, and I think that when we just haven't had a very good start historically of being proud of our food. Yeah. Whereas across Europe, we all know that this is how you have to make the pasta sauce. This is the only way I'll ever use this dish, etc., etc. And people are genuinely it's inherent of like the standard and quality of their own food. Yeah. But we're getting there.
I think we are, and I think now there's this growing conversation and interest. I think we'll continue to see that grow, and like you say, next thing, pesticides. Let's tackle that. I love it. Well, talking about the smallholding more specifically then, next chapter, what does that look like? Is there anything in the roadworks or anything you're excited for?
So, we have, obviously keeping on. Yeah. It's a lot of work to run a restaurant like this where we have lots of tangibles, lots of changes, menu changes every month, wine changes every month, a new team, etc. But our courses down on the farm, so we're talking about people wanting to learn and grow more things. We now run a separate part of the business called Grow the Seasons. Real. So it's 4 times a year we have different courses on how people can learn a bit more about their own growing at home or in their allotment and their kitchen garden. So we've just finished those for February, so it's the fresh start season in February, and then we have another one in May that's about planting out and getting all of your bits ready and potting on, and the August one's about just abundance and how to harvest, how to make the most, and then November one is about preservation,
pickling.
How do you pick? How do you store your tubers? How do you store your pumpkins? etc. So that's that. We started that last year. This year it's really ramped up. And then I want to do a couple more. We haven't really spoken about it yet. I want to do a few more courses. So that educational side of the business, it's just been fantastic because we really get real people with absolute passion and love and care and interest into food growing and production. I was saying earlier, we have a lot of top end, sort of like light end conversations about like, oh, how's the weather? And oh, did you see that thing on the telly? And all this kind of stuff. And you see a completely different level of connection when you talk to people about food and growing food. We used to get a lot of guests ask, how do you do it? Oh, my tomatoes always happen like this. And I really struggle with that growing. And we do farm tours. If you come for to eat, you can just book on to come and have a wander around with one of the, you can either go on your own or with one of the garden team. And we thought we'd basically take it to the next level, and it's been super popular. So hopefully we can now add, they're full day courses, the Grow the Seasons. So we're looking at hopefully adding a couple of shorter ones that are a bit easier, a couple of hours.
Sign me up. That sounds brilliant. I'll have to come back and see the garden in full bloom. It feels like your first guests have arrived for your lunchtime service.
We're kicking up for lunch service soon,
Well, it's been such a pleasure to chat. But I've got 3 questions to wrap up. A little closing tradition. You imagine you've cashed a winning lottery ticket, so money's of no object, and I'm going to ask you 3 questions. The first one is, where are you running away to disconnect and to detox?
Where am I going? I probably wouldn't go too far away, to be honest. I'd probably go to somewhere like Cornwall in the woods in Bodmin, so I can go to north and south. But I would want to go, if I had so much money, I'd block it out so no one else can go there. So it'd just be
getting
us.
all of Cornwall. Oh, lovely Bodmin Moor, very moody.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Really nice.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Next one's slightly different, but your ultimate birthday party. Where are you hosting it?
So I'm really boring with these questions. Probably just like at a big house where all my friends and family can come. Like,
nice.
I wouldn't want to go to anywhere that's too far away.
No, I mean, all those airstrikes.
I think you think about it, don't you? Like, go to New York.
Yeah.
Go to here. But yeah, I'm quite a simple guy. Like,
Okay.
just as long as everyone's there, I'm happy.
Oh, it's like the people. Love that. Last one then. Maybe it'll be the UK hat trick. Your once in a lifetime bucket list. Where are you heading?
Restaurant wise.
Holiday
wise. I need to go to Japan.
Everyone says Japan.
Do they? Yeah, I bet they do.
It's a great answer
like,
though.
Absolutely. It's been on our list for years, mine and my wife, and since then we've had 2 absolutely beautiful, incredible daughters.
Aww.
But it kind of slows the Japan trip down.
Love them.
We were supposed to do it for a honeymoon, actually, so
Really?
that was a long time ago. So now, but we will definitely go with them. They eat everything. Like, if you ask my daughter what she wants to eat sushi.
Really?
And you ask my other daughter what she wants to eat mussels. So that's their 2 favourite
You trained
foods.
them well.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. They just like, I mean, they also like crisps and biscuits. But yeah, I think, once in a lifetime, if I could block out a month or 2 of my life and just go and live in Japan for a little bit, would be
amazing.
That would be the goal.
Go on, well, I hope you get your 2 months in Japan. Love that. And your trip
Fingers
to
crossed.
Cornwall.
I need to buy a lottery ticket first.
Exactly. You'll be in it to win it. Oh, well, it's been so lovely chatting, Will. Thank you so much for having
My
me
pleasure.
here.
Thank you so much.
Will, it was such a pleasure to come out to the brilliant small holding. We braved the elements, the wind and the rain, but it was still just as cosy and charming and magical. I can't wait to come back in summer when that kitchen garden is in full bloom. And thank you, lovely listeners, for tuning in. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so hit me up for a natter, slide into my DMs, or leave a review. It honestly means the world and keeps the podcast going. You can, of course, find all of our lovely spaces and many more in the new Curated Spaces platform. Head to app.curatedSpaces.club to explore the whole collection and start planning your next getaway. And I'll be back very soon with more stories and inside scoops, so I'll catch you then for more Curated Spaces.